Bine ai venit în Poiana Brașov.
Bine te-am regăsit, întotdeauna vremea în Poiana este surprinzătoare.
Așa
Ce
e.
ai mai făcut? Nu ne-am văzut când ai intrat în comunitatea Destinelor, cred că acum 1 an și jumătate.
Exact.
Nu ne-am mai văzut de atunci. Ce ai mai făcut?
Păi, pe lângă turism, o grămadă de grupuri duse prin țară și televiziune, emisiunea mea TV și promovarea României.
Da, și am văzut că la emisiune ai cunoscut foarte mulți expați.
Exact, am foarte mulți prieteni expați și am creat chiar un grup de prieteni veniți din mai multe țări care trăiesc în România și astăzi vreau să-ți prezint un prieten deosebit care este american și s-a mutat acum câțiva ani în România. Îl cheamă Ron.
Din America în România s-a mutat? Cum? Toată lumea vrea să plece în America și tu ai găsit un american
Care s-a mutat în România.
care s-a mutat și își dorește să rămână în România?
Exact.
Adică de-abia aștept să stăm toți trei la o poveste.
Exact.
How was your childhood in America?
My childhood was fantastic in America.
Where?
I grew up in a small town called Cupertino. Many people may have heard of it because now it's the headquarters for Apple Computer. I grew up before Apple Computer when it was cherry orchards and reservoirs and creeks and things of that nature. So it's a very fun childhood. A lot of things to do. It wasn't the concrete jungle it is today.
Care a fost persoana care l-a impactat cel mai mult din copilăria lui?
Which person was the most important for you back in the years when you were a child or after that when you were a teenager?
Growing up, I'd say the most influential person in my life was my grandmother. And she taught me many things. And one of the things she really stressed to me was to kind of, and I don't want to put this the wrong way, but keep my business to myself. And I think that's a problem today with a lot of people in the United States. They won't keep their business to themselves. They have to make everything an issue. Everything has to be out in the open and criticized and victimized. And my grandmother was a very private person, and she taught me to do the right thing, whether you like it or not. You do the right thing. Do what you're supposed to do. And she shaped my life more than anyone else.
You have a photo with your grandmother?
I don't. I lost them all. I had a friend store them for me when I moved here. My grandmother passed before digital photos.
Sorry.
And so they were all lost in the move, which saddens me because I still know up here, but I don't have any visual pictures or anything like that.
Cum a ajuns în armata americană?
How did you get to be in the army in the U.S.?
I joined at a very young age. I paid for college, for university with the GI Bill. I joined during the Reagan administration. Ronald Reagan was the president. We were in the middle of a Cold War, and patriotism ran high. It was... the message was, you know, the United States is the greatest country in the world, and it's us against them. And I know, unfortunately, Romania was included in that, which, you know, not by fault of the Romanians, but we always felt a threat from the communist bloc. And so I joined the Army out of a sense of duty that it was part of what I was supposed to do. Again, going back to what my grandmother taught me, it's the right thing to do to serve my country.
Can you tell us the most challenging things that happened to you in the U.S. Army?
It's really hard to say. Of course, combat is probably the most miserable experience anyone can go through. The same suffering you see in World War II and Vietnam in the Korean conflict. These are things that no one should ever have to witness, but the unfortunate thing is these things happen and you have to move past them.
Dar sunt lucruri care te marchează pe viață.
Well, of course. No one comes back from fighting a war the same that they left. It's impossible. It's not possible for that environment not to affect you. If you're not affected by that particular environment, you are somehow a sociopath. You have no feelings, no empathy. You're not human. Because to see people injured, to see people screaming for help, it affects you deeply. And again, the only thing you can do is be thankful. Thank God that you are one of the lucky ones, one of the blessed ones, and move on with your life and do the best you can from that day forward, because I feel like I'm living on borrowed time anyway. So I feel like I've been blessed with extra time on earth. Why not make the best of it? It was a learning experience, and it's something I don't regret, but I wouldn't wish it on anyone else. I would never let my son do what I did. Not in a million years. It affects people differently. Even though I do suffer sometimes from terrible nightmares, and every now and then I feel very uncomfortable in certain social situations because of the events that I lived through, I'm able to at least go along my daily life without having life-changing, life-stopping events. There are some soldiers that come back with PTSD who are unable to even function in life. They completely stop functioning. There are some that actually commit suicide. And suicide among veterans is a huge problem in the United States. The last number I heard, it was roughly 22 veterans per day were committing suicide due to the post-traumatic stress disorder. There's a move right now to increase the treatment, but the mentality in the military is seeking help shows weakness. And so they're trying to move away from that type of mentality to help people get treatment for just that, for the PTSD, so that these people can function, have better lives, increase the quality of their life.
Atentate teroriste de o amploare fără precedent au lovit simultan astăzi Washingtonul și New Yorkul.
What means 9/11 for you?
I was horrified. When the planes hit the Twin Towers, my heart dropped into my stomach, and I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to go and fight, because the United States was attacked. And so it was my duty to defend our country from these people who would destroy it. I went back and re-entered service and was absolutely 100% ready to deploy.
Care a fost decizia? De ce România? Why Romania?
I wanted to find a place where I could retire comfortably and not have to worry about the values and the things that are being taught to my son. The United States is not educating young people, and they're indoctrinating them. We started looking at Eastern Europe, and we looked at Poland and Czech Republic and Bulgaria, and one of the things about Romania is the tradition, the deep-rooted tradition in Romania. And another consideration was the language. With an 8-year-old son, and knowing that we were going to stay here for an extended period of time, the language was the best one for him to learn because it is Latin-based.
Cum s-a acomodat? Cum îl cheamă pe băiat? Noah?
Noah.
Cum s-a acomodat?
And I say this with a smile on my face, it's been the easiest transition I've ever made.
N-a crezut că e așa ușor, ai văzut ce înseamnă România?
The Romanian people are so warm and welcoming and have made things so... This is why I don't know more Romanian, is because Romanians are so helpful that they don't make me speak it. We've been... Every problem we've ever had, there's been a Romanian citizen that has come forward and helped us. When we dealt with the electric company, we had someone that spoke for us and helped us. Our first trip to the grocery store was a disaster. And, every time we'd get to something, we'd scratch our head, be like, what is this? Someone would come and say, English? Yes. Okay. This is this, and this is that. And it was just a pleasure.
Pentru că noi vorbim foarte mult. Foarte mulți români vorbim engleză și suntem și ospitalieri și atunci e firesc, s-a acomodat foarte repede, îți dai seama.
Romanians are speaking in English, like a lot of them. Plus, we were welcoming,
and helpful, and helpful and willing to give of themselves. Not, so many places and especially in the United States, most people are looking for something. In Romania, we've been kind of looking around like, we're lost in a vacuum, and a random Romanian will just come up and, you need some help? Can I help you? And, not expecting nothing in return. As a matter of fact, I've actually tried to tip people for helping us, and they will not take it. They won't do it. And it's just a pleasure to know that, not only are we welcomed and accepted, but we feel completely safe. Never in Romania have I felt unsafe anywhere or at any time.
Which is your plans now?
My plans now, I'd like to do more with Corneliu.
Ce vreți să faceți, Corneliu, împreună?
O să încercăm să facem tururi în România în care Ron să fie un fel de speaker motivațional. Mai ales
interesantă
pe
idee.
Da, mai ales pe partea la universități și conferințe, să zic așa, pentru că Ron, fiind fost ofițer în armata Statelor Unite, cunoaște partea asta de natură umană destul de bine și știe cum omul se comportă în situații de criză, cât de mult poate un om să îndure anumite chestii. Vorbesc de efort fizic, efort psihic, să zic așa. Și Ron și cu mine vrem să mergem în diferite localități din România în care Ron să vorbească despre experiența războiului, despre experiența lui în a trăinui, să zic așa, oameni.
Ce fel de copil este Noah?
What kind of a kid is Noah?
Well, he's a typical teenager. He's very, very, very clever, very intelligent. Tries to get away with everything he can, and I don't let him. He is very well behaved, and he's very ambitious, and he wants to do things to not only help himself but help others. So he's on the right path. I think he's going to be an outstanding adult.
He makes online school?
Yes.
In America?
Correct. Mm-hmm. We were hoping to have him in Romanian school by 8th grade, but that didn't work out. His Romanian tutor she's very old school, very old school. She comes from another era, about 33, 34 years ago, and she's teaching him the absolute right way. If he does something the wrong way, she tears the page out, throws it away, and makes him start over.
De câți ani ești aici?
14. Nu,
14 ani ai tu, nu?
Da.
Și de
Eu sunt
câți ani
14.
ești în România? De câți ani stai aici? Stai de 5 ani. Ai prieteni aici în România?
Da, multe.
Mulți. În ce limbă vorbești cu ei?
Poftim?
În ce limbă vorbești cu prietenii tăi?
Cu niște prietenii mei, în engleză. Niște...
Pentru că mulți știu engleză.
Da.
Da.
Și niște în română.
Și cu câțiva vorbești și în română. Înveți română? Îți place limba română?
Da?
Știi despre tatăl tău că a avut o meserie periculoasă?
Da, este foarte periculos.
You want to make the same profession like your father?
No, the army is terrible. It's the most terrible thing because there's something you can really underestimate, and you cannot underestimate something more than the army. The army is probably, maybe, or maybe not, the most underestimated thing out there, because once you go in, there's not really going back.
Can you tell us some things about faith and about values and how you actually want to go from Catholic to Orthodox, and what values have?
Well, and that's another thing. We're very Christian. We live a Christian life. We believe in Christian values, and God is above everything. And I was raised in the Catholic Church, and I remember Pope John Paul II. He was a very, very admirable man. And today the Catholic Church is breaking away from its core values. The bishops in Germany are blessing unions that shouldn't be blessed by the Catholic Church, and there's just a lot of discord. And I look at the Romanian Orthodox. I was lucky enough, I was blessed enough to be invited to a very close friend's son's baptism in the Romanian Orthodox Church. And there's a tremendous amount of similarities. At one time, the two churches were the same before they broke apart. So I have a lot of respect for the Orthodox in that they continue to stick to their core Christian values in spite of social or political pressure. So I'm really considering and going to look into having me and my family convert to Romanian Orthodox, and of course, having to learn the language also. Here in Romania, believe it or not, I feel a stronger sense of free speech. I mean, I can say things that others may not like, and I don't have to worry about any kind of protests at my home, or the backlash or the anger and the venom that comes from the liberals in the United States. If you say the wrong thing in the United States, they want you fired from your job. They want you run out of town. It's become a dangerous place to have any form of differing opinion from what the liberals want you to think.
Vezi cum se simte liniștea și libertatea.
Exact.
Din partea unui om care a trăit și în pericol și în război.
Exact. Și în România se simte în siguranță.
Aici e liniște
Plus
și
că poate
pace.
să se exprime. Asta e interesant. După ce a trecut atâta timp în Statele Unite, el se poate exprima în România. Și este ironic, pentru că după atâția ani de comunism, România este într-un fel mai liberă, să zic așa, în a te exprima decât alte țări din vest.
The U.S. has lost its identity. There's only different victim groups. There's no such thing as an American anymore. You're a Hispanic American or an Asian American or a LGBTQ American. There's no such thing as an American anymore. And I see more patriotism from Romanians than I see in the United States. And I think that's sad. I'm very disappointed in that because people display the Romanian flag proudly. And we used to do that. And it's a changing world, and places like Romania, I think, are safe havens for people who just want to live in peace and be able to feel welcomed and safe.
Iar ai cântat fals. Eu? Anul acesta la Mamaia a fost festival.
Ha, dar a fost, să vezi, Trăznaia, un caz special. S-au ivit deodată norii, că n-au luat compozitorii, ca în timpul lor de glorii, premiul 1 și 2. Nu l-am luat nici noi.
Milă-mi de voi.